guys, welcome back to another video. As you can see behind me, this is the old world that I first started building on YouTube, and it's been a long time since we've been in this world, but anyway, let's just check out the world real quick, and let's just first do a little exploration of all the stuff that we built so far. Okay, so the first thing that we built was probably this nice lake. It was like one of the first things. It has a nice little stump with a fallen tree in the middle of it. I just really think that's such a nice touch. And the next thing that we would have built was these trees, I think. Yeah. As you can see, I, used some copper rods and some crimson, warped. Yes, warped. So I got those two nether blocks mixed up, and some azalea leaves and moss to make this super cool tree. It doesn't really have branches because it's a really small tree, but I also put a bit of grass on top of the to make it look more like leaves. And some small deep leaf, of course, around the edge. And then, as you can see over here, we have this nice, big, rushing waterfall. As you can see, I have not built the back. That's really ugly. Let's just not pay attention to that this episode. And there's also these nice boulders that kind of were carved by this waterfall. And I also used some white candles to make it look like splashing. And as you can see, I also used a lot of white glass panes. And a few white glass panes just falling away, just to show more of the splashing. And then in the background here, we have a nice log and a huge tree. It's probably the big one, like the biggest one here. And we also have a nice little beehive. Maybe some bees would live in it. I kind of use a bit of rooted dirt and an oak stair just to make it look, a lot more better. You can just see how it looks better. And there's little bee holes. And then over here we have some boulders and just a lot of greenery. I really am not sure that I like all this dirt. Maybe a bit less dirt and mix in a bit more grass and moss. Yeah, I think that would look really well with this. And maybe a little bit less vegetation. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit less. So I think we really put a lot. But anyway, that's what we're going to be doing this episode. So let's get right into it. Okay, so as you can see in my inventory, I got most of the blocks we are going to need. And now we should probably just start. I think we should just start with replacing a lot of this dirt with grass, especially over here. I just don't like how much, dirt there is. You know what I'm saying? Like, too much dirt. Maybe a bit of dirt, like, around here. Some places need dirt, but other places, it just doesn't look right, if you know what I'm saying. And then I'm just going to make a quick outline of where all the dirt's going to be. And then, right here should be the outline of where all the dirt's, like, naturally going to be around. Yeah, around there. Maybe a bit around this boulder. Yeah, that should be good. We kind of circled that area off. Now let's get to building all the grass in. I'll see you guys once I've filled most of the grass in. Okay guys, so we're just about done this section that I'm cleaning up right now. And now we're gonna start putting in a bit of a bit less greenery here maybe. Yeah, like a bit less greenery. But I'm gonna put more greenery in after we add, I think, what pathway should we do? For now we'll do gravel. We can always replace it. So, Just a bit of gravel. Perfect. And maybe we should make the pathway, a little less big, maybe a little smaller. No way, I should probably just put that there. And probably also that there. And hopefully that looks alright. Now let's just add the pathway in. Here we go. Not sure how I like all that. Maybe a bit thicker here. Maybe if we add, I don't know, maybe some moss and some gray moss or pale moss or whatever they call it these days. Oops. No, I don't like that. You know what? Let's just add in the pathway after. For now, let's just keep it normal. I'll just replace back all the stuff. There we go. I think that's how much there was before. And now let me just fill this in. Okay, we're done filling it in. And yeah, that actually looks honestly a lot better than the rest of the place. Might have to start changing up everything, but first, let's just change up this little place. So first, I'm only gonna put a few bushes and stuff around. Just a few here and there. Not too many. Just because I think that would really overpower, and I see how it's overpowering the forest a bit too much. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty good. And now if we just add maybe a bit more grass on some places like here. Oops, I accidentally destroyed that. And maybe a bit more greenery here as well. Yeah, I like that amount of greenery. Is that a good amount? Yeah, that's a good amount. That's a fair amount. Maybe a bit more near the tree because it's a tree. And also some of that. And maybe one of these just to light it up a bit. Yeah, I like it a lot more with the grass. Do you think if we made it entirely grass? If we made it entirely grass, then I'm not sure if it would look better or worse. So that we can do the pathway and stuff. Maybe so that we can do a dirt pathway and then it won't interfere or anything. Maybe there won't be a dirt pathway here. Oh well. But right now, now let's take care of this part. Let's remove a lot of these. Maybe you. Maybe remove you and place one back here. No wait, maybe one of those. But then remove all of you guys. It's starting to look a bit better. And now if we replace some of it with grass, like this part here. Ooh, that looks pretty good. And maybe one there. Yeah, that actually looks really nice. Oops, I'm building up a bit too high. Now if we just remove all of this. We're also removing some of the vegetation when we do this. Oops. So it kind of looks a bit better. Ooh, this place still needs a lot of fixing, and so does the other place. But we'll do that after we're done. Just one step at a time. Okay. And maybe remove one of those and one of those. And maybe replace this with like a bush or something there. No. Yeah, there. Okay. And then maybe one of these here, and then I just realized we have like nothing above or on top of here. Maybe like, some stuff around the place. And maybe one there, maybe like one here, maybe like one of those here, no, like here, and maybe like one more there, here. Yeah, starting to look like really nice. I think it looks a lot better than before. In my opinion, I think it looks like really nice now. But it still needs a lot of trees. Yeah, that's the problem, I think. It needs a lot more trees. Yeah, so I'm just gonna quickly build maybe one tree. And I'll get to you when I'm done, maybe like the trunk or something. Okay guys, so it just started raining right now. Kind of funny. And I just finished this trunk. So I want it to be a bit shorter than the first tree because it wouldn't make sense to have super big trees, just like the same height. And I think that the trees should actually be shorter. This one's probably going to be the tallest tree in the area. And the next trees will be like down here, just covering the under places maybe. But we'll do that next episode probably. Anyway, so we're probably going to go for the same leaf palette again. From the acacia, no wait, from the moss and azalea leaves all the way to the birch leaves, to the spruce leaves, and then maybe ours will go, like the leaf will go a bit lower this time. Anyway, let's just start building. So here we have the moss, the grass that goes on top of the moss, and we need those leaves and those leaves and those leaves. Of course we need spruce leaves because it's a spruce tree. Kind of makes a nice shadowing. Anyway, let's start. So like we want a pointy top like that. So I'll just skip to when the pointy top is done, and then I'll show you guys. Okay guys, so the top is really starting to match that one's top, but I think we have to break this leaf, or maybe like extend it one block higher. And no, actually, yeah, I think that's a good height actually. Yeah, this looks the best. There's no way to make it better, I don't really think. Anyway, we're not finished the top yet. As you can see, it gets a tiny little bit bigger once there. So that's what we're gonna do just quickly. Okay guys, we're almost done here. Now just the last block, and maybe one hole there. We also want to put some holes under. We want to make it airy. You always want your trees to be pretty airy, guys. That's one tip that I do know on building trees, is you always want it to be airy. And that should be good for the top. Now we're gonna go and work on the middle part. Oh, oops. I'll just quickly fix that. I don't know if I damaged it too much to fix. Well, I think it's fine right now. Maybe one that. Yeah, that's fine. So as you can see, what I was about to say is, now I'll start going into the birch leaves and then the spruce leaves, which will make it a lot more darker and probably even look better. We're also gonna start adding some branches. So I'll need to get the stuff that I use for the branches. Maybe some trapdoors too, and also some spruce planks. Well, slabs. Okay, now we want to do, I think, like something like maybe this one for a lower branch, and then maybe for a higher branch we'll do something like, no wait, for an even lower branch I think that would go. Okay, so maybe for like a branch like this low maybe, no, a bit higher, yeah, that's a good place. And now you can make this cool design. Let me just get it there. Perfect. And as I was saying, this cool design to make a nice branch, to make it like thick on the top but pretty thin. And then I think I'll do maybe one upper, like maybe here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Do I want it down? I think I want it down like that. Yeah, I think that looks better. And then maybe like one small one here or something. Yeah, and no. Okay, now I'll fill it in with leaves and stuff, and I'll see you then. But for now, goodbye. Okay guys, we started to convert into birch leaves, and let's see, so it starts to get a bit wider after we do that. And now we'll just start by first just covering up the whole thing again. Yeah, that's going really good. And I'll see you guys when we're done the leaves right now. Okay guys, so I just finished putting on all the leaves, and I think it's starting to look really nice right now. You know, maybe like, I think maybe like one or two more branches at like around the bottom here, just to like show some like aging and stuff. Yeah, that looks really nice, I think. Anyway, that tree's done. And now we're actually starting to have a bit of a forest. You know, we're gonna need to have like maybe a lot more shady trees just to cover it all up, you know? And we're obviously gonna have to work on some trees on the cliffs. And maybe even, I don't know, a pathway going through the forest and up maybe snowy mountains that aren't here yet. I'm thinking to have like, I don't know, a giant mountain behind this cliff reaching like all the way up to here maybe. That would be so cool to have one day.